Hi, it's Mr. Tush over at Global, and I was recently asked to go over another use of variables, or at least to go over the concept of variables again. So I'm going to take a little time right now and go back to our old quiz app and just give you another extra help or session review of what the variable does. Now, the quiz app, if you remember, this is the one where we had the four questions with Alan Turing and Elon Musk and Grace Hopper and the picture of Mary Jackson that led to the movie Hidden Figures. And we built some blocks, and the blocks we built checked the answers and gave the user feedback. But what I did was I said, well, and I was asked to do this by a couple of kids, well, what if I want to study my answers? Because sometimes when I'm studying for a quiz, I look at the answers I got correct and I got the answers I got incorrect, and then I know what to study for the test. And that's good study skills. So let's talk about how to design good study skills. So over in the designer, I added a couple of things. I added four labels. See these four labels right here? Answer one here, answer two here, answer three here, and answer four here. This isn't the prettiest way to do this, and I'm sure that when you get to your projects, you'll have better ways to present this, but I just put in four quick labels at the end of our quiz app, and those four labels are going to store some information. Now, over here, gets to our point of our lesson, I had to add a bucket, a variable. So what's going to happen is, where it gets to check answer, this little algorithm right here, it's not little, this algorithm is going to compare and it's going to tell the user whether it's correct or whether it's incorrect. And we know how to do that. But I'm also going to add it to a list. See, I created a variable called answers given. And when the screen is initialize global answers given, it creates an empty list. So it creates a bucket. There's nothing in our bucket. But when it starts up, it creates a bucket. So there's a new added variable to our quiz app called answers given. And then what happens is I added a couple of things to the check answer procedure. One of which is if I add items to this list, or if I give the correct answer, I take that correct answer and I do this add items to list, and I add to the global answers given. So I take this answer and I throw it in, and I add the item I add is a join. The text you answered colon space, and then the answer that they gave, and then comma space, and that was correct, period. So I give them a nice, neat answer and just stick it in a bucket. You don't see it. And it just goes in that bucket. Well, what if they're incorrect? I run, run the same thing here. If it's incorrect, this is where it gives them the incorrect feedback right then and there, I store it in my bucket, put it in the global answers given bucket, and I join you answered colon, this is the answer they gave. So I'm going to put a little space in that spot. There we go. There we go, a little space, a little neater. Answer text box, and that was correct, and the incorrect rather, and the correct answer is, and it gives them the correct answer. Even sticks a period at the end, just trying to give them some useful feedback. So it tells them their correct answers and their incorrect answers. And it stores it in here. Stores it in this bucket right here, answers given. And then finally, when I get to the end, I have this procedure called display answers. And this display answers procedure sets each of these to visible and then says the answer one, put the answer that I gave. It's going to put in either my correct answer or my incorrect answer, just as I printed it out in 1, 2, 3, and 4. I put it in labels 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so it stores it in this bucket and then displays it. When does it display it? It displays it right here. Remember this procedure? This procedure goes to 1, it goes to 2, it goes to 3, it goes to 4, and at the end, I call this procedure called display answers. And I just have it, the last thing it does is it displays my score, and then it throws those four answers in there. Now, I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to set the default. Label display answer is invisible, 2 is invisible, 3 is invisible, 4 is invisible. I'm setting that because I didn't want you to see it just yet. And then I'm going to go over to my demonstration right here, and you see how this works. I'm going to type in Alan Turing, and we know it's a correct answer, so it scores it correct. We know that this is Hidden Figures, and it's correct. And both of those answers have now been stored in my bucket. Grace Hopper. answer. 3 of my 4 answers are in the bucket. And then just to make sure that we know what we're doing, I'm going to misspell this directly. I'm going to say Elon Musk. I'll put a little A in his last name, which is a typographical error, but it's going to give me an incorrect. I click next. It's going to tell me I'm done. But now watch what happens. I scroll down, and right here I have, you answered Alan Turing, and it was correct. Hidden Figures was correct. Grace Hopper was correct. You answered Elon Musk, and that was incorrect. The correct answer is Elon Musk. So my answers for each of those have now been stored in my bucket. And at the end, I can go ahead and do it again. So I can write procedures for ways to present that are neater. I could do different screens to present the answers. I can have people go back and forth. But in general, a variable is something that stores information. And I created a new variable inside of an existing app that allowed me to store different information and present it in different ways by taking it out of where it was evaluated, sticking it in my bucket, and then later on displaying it in labels somewhere else. And that's a good use of variables. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching.